Hello, welcome guys. We are live. It's noon Central Standard Time on Saturday, which means it's time for us to discuss arbitrage. That's what we do with this hour. Just One Dime continues to grow in our excitement for arbitrage. We remain excited about private label and branding your own products, but we are also excited about what you can do as an Amazon seller doing arbitrage. In a lot of ways, it can serve as a great entry point for you if you're just beginning selling on Amazon. It can also become just a great opportunity for you to diversify your Amazon portfolio and to come alongside seeking to create your own brand. Sometimes branding your own product takes a lot of revenue, a lot of capital up front, and people find that doing arbitrage doesn't involve the same amount of investment, and they can generate some capital to then feed their private label efforts doing arbitrage. So we're big fans of arbitrage. We think that it can really serve you well, and it can enable your business to really advance in some unique ways. So that's what we're going to dedicate this hour to. My name is Eric Abbey. I'm not Seth Kniep, but I am someone who's excited to partner with Seth. He's given me opportunity to cover these hour-long Q&As on arbitrage. He's a good friend of mine, and we're working together to really help you to maximize the opportunity that you have through selling on Amazon. I've been selling on Amazon for almost 5 years now. It's been a huge blessing to our family. We've been able to create the margin that I was hoping for and looking for, and it's enabled us to really achieve a number of our goals. And I've spoken to that in past broadcasts. And I want to introduce today Regina Robinson. She is an Amazon seller who's seen success as well. She leans hard into arbitrage. She's actually a coach with our new Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership. And so, Regina, why don't you say hi to our viewers?
Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing today? I'm here with Eric, and hopefully we can share some tips about arbitraging. And as I like to call us, arbitrageurs, as is what we are. And we all go out and try and find some good deals and get out there and sell them for the benefit of what we're trying to do for our lives, pay off bills and so on and so forth. So, yeah, so we're going to have fun here for the next hour.
Thanks, Regina. I like to call it Arbitrage. I'm Eric Abbey, and so my dad and I sell, and we like to talk about doing arbitrage when we're discussing our efforts online. So Seth is keeping it real, and today we're doing arbitrage and trying to move our Amazon businesses forward and everything that we do. Regina is a coach, as I mentioned a minute ago, for our new membership. Just One Dime has rolled out a great membership that, in my opinion, is a sweet opportunity for you to either expand your current Amazon business through doing arbitrage or really get the ball rolling for the first time on your Amazon business. And it's called Amazon Arbitrage Mastery. There's a link right in the description below that you can check that out. We'd love for you to look into it. And we think it's a really great way for you to build a foundation for your Amazon business. Michael Snyder, I see you. Hello. Loving it. It's good to have you back. You've been with us often on these Saturday calls. Shirley, Jocelyn, Mo, T. Clapson. It's good to see you guys. Glad for you to join us. We want to do Q&A during this hour, so I already see a couple questions, and we'll get to those in a few minutes, but keep them rolling. What questions do you have? What obstacles are you running up against? We can discuss what your goals and your aspirations are for your business. What can we do to help you get things started? What can we do to help you take things to the next level? Before we get to the Q&A, which we will do, I promise, I want to spend a couple minutes talking about what my week was like, and I want to talk a little bit about workflow, which can be a big problem for sellers as they are buying more product, selling more product, trying to stay organized. So I just got back, let's see, about 45 minutes ago from a week-long camping trip. Our church did a youth retreat, and I was the camp director for about 100 people in a camp about an hour and a half from here. We had a great week, but you know what it's like to be camping. Little sleep and lots of work and lots of fun. So I got back, took a quick shower, and here we are. But here's the cool thing about this week. One, I was able to do it and spend the whole week there because my full-time job now is working with our church. And so just a couple weeks ago, I was able to fire my old boss and move into a career path that I really am excited about. And it's now in line with my convictions and my passions. And so this week was a fun opportunity for me to express those convictions and to do it full time. I didn't have my normal job kind of hanging over my head and preventing me from giving this whole week to the retreat like I wanted to. And I didn't have to sneak away to try to log on remotely and do work in that regard. And here's the cool thing about my Amazon business. I was able to step away from my business, really neglect it for the whole week, and it just kept churning. And so it was fun. I just got on my cell phone. I had 1 bar's worth of signal, and if I stood in the right place at the camp, I could get on there and look at my Amazon seller account. And I'm selling 30 items a week while I'm, or not a week, 30 items a day while I'm, at the camp, giving myself to the camp effort. And I'm just checking my phone and saying, oh, Amazon FBA has fulfilled all these orders. They've picked it off the shelf, packed it, shipped it. I haven't even hardly done any work on my Amazon business, and it's just motoring right along. And so I love the flexibility that this business gives. It allows me to serve my church. It allows me to spend time with my family in the same way. And the business just keeps on working. And certainly we need to put effort into our Amazon businesses. I've trumpeted that in these programs that we've had. We're not advocating a business that is free from hard work. This isn't something that's just an easy sit back and somehow find flips that help you get rich quick without any effort. That's not what we're talking about. To move an Amazon business to a place where you have significant margin takes a lot of hard work, but you can manage it so that the business is serving you and you're not a slave to the business. And to be honest with you, I was able to step away from it for the whole week, and it just continued to move along just fine. I don't know very many of my friends who own businesses that could just step away from the business for a whole week and not take a serious hit to their business. And I didn't take a serious hit. I didn't put in the kind of effort that I feel like I need to week in and week out to move it forward. So if I neglected it like I did for 2 months entirely, my inventory would really drop and I wouldn't see the same kind of revenue. But I just think it's way cool that the business is flexible and serves me and allows me to do these kinds of things. Regina, I know you've had a similar experience. And I know our viewers are wanting to see a business that can serve them, create margin, and not prevent them from doing the things they want to do, but actually empower them to do the things they want to do. So our experience, I think, can be encouraging to them. How is it that you've seen your Amazon business be able to serve you in that capacity?
Yeah, Eric, hey, I really enjoyed your story because that's like our goal to where we can all fire our boss. And I'm working on that as well and starting up another business on top of that. So I'm not quite fired my boss yet, but very soon I know I can do. I will say, for myself, that yes, Arbitrage is great. I've been doing it for almost 2 years. I've been with Just One Dime doing that. They've been awesome, very helpful and everything. And I do a lot of traveling for work. So I travel every couple weeks. And so when you're doing that, it's hard to go to the stores and go and arbitraging and trying to find things. So at that time when I'm actually traveling, I can do online arbitrage. And being able to do that on my computer, no matter where I am in the country and whatever city I'm in, actually allows me to do that. And from there, I can either do one of 2 avenues. If I do online arbitrage, I can use prep centers, or if I do when I'm actually home for a week or 2 at a time, then I can go to the stores and do my my arbitrage that way. I love going to the stores and shopping for arbitrage. I think that's just a lot of fun to me. I really like it a lot. I like going and picking up the items, touching, feeling, scanning while I'm there. My husband and I usually do it together. And to me, it's just a lot of fun. It's like a day out, maybe not at the park having hot dogs and hamburgers or the beach or something, but, just having fun like that and actually looking forward to what we're going to purchase. But knowing that I can do it whether I'm at home or if I'm in a hotel or a business or a conference, I know I can actually do that as long as I have my computer. It's really working very well.
Yeah, it's so cool how you can do that when you're selling on Amazon. And this is all due to the fact that Amazon has Amazon FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon. And if you're unfamiliar with what that is, this is what really enabled me to take my business. Well, it's what enabled me to even have a business, because I was buying and selling on eBay and I could make 50 or $100 a month, but that's not the kind of margin I needed in order to save up for a house to initially get out of debt. And I just thought, there's no way I can scale this effort. I'm working a full-time job. I can't really do more. I'm creating listings and taking pictures of my product. And then if I sell something, I got to scramble and find bubble wrap and a box. And it just was a huge hassle. And I thought, there's no way I can really amplify this so that I'm making good money. Amazon FBA is a system where Amazon will fulfill all your orders for you. So now we purchase products either through retail arbitrage in your local store, which is the touch and feel thing that Regina was talking about, or you order items online through online arbitrage, and you gather all those items and you ship them to an Amazon fulfillment center. And now Amazon does all the work for you. They warehouse your items so you don't have to have a huge place to store all the stuff. And then when it sells, they pick it off the shelf, they pack it in a box, they ship it, and they provide all the customer service. They respond to customer emails, they process returns, and of course, they allow you to use their marketplace. And what marketplace is there that compares to Amazon? Everybody is looking at Amazon to buy products. And so Amazon FBA is really what allows you to scale your business. It's really what allows this to be possible. And now you have all kinds of flexibility because Amazon's doing the work. And you need to be getting items there. But you can even use prep centers, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, to do the hard work of prepping your items and getting them to a fulfillment center. Now they're doing that work for you. Amazon's doing all the front end work for you, and you're managing the business, and you can do it from a remote location. You can give energy to and then back up from your business as you want. You can manage it how you want. And one of the things that we really love about arbitrage is it's also flexible in how you manage it in relation to any private label efforts you're making. So a lot of people are establishing their own brands on Amazon. They're finding their own items and they're creating their own brand and their own label to really leverage that opportunity on Amazon. And I saw a question here from Elizabeth Joshua. And Regina, I'll have you respond to this because I know that you're involved in both private label and arbitrage in significant ways. And Elizabeth asks, do you do arbitrage as well as private label? Can you make a strong business from arbitrage alone? What I want you to do first, Regina, is just talk a little bit about how you view private label and arbitrage and how they work together, and why do you do arbitrage and how does it serve any private label efforts, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's actually really good because people don't realize they sort of tie together, even though they're actually two completely separate markets. I like arbitrage because I think it's fun. I really do. I think it's a lot of fun. It's a whole different method of actually building your business. Excuse me. And yes, arbitrage can be a full-time business for you. You can make money. It has, as Eric said, he's able to fire his boss because of the arbitrage. There are other people that do it as well that maybe you just don't even know about. It could be your next door neighbor that's doing it and you just don't know, because a lot of times they don't talk about it because they want to be able to handle it themselves and not necessarily share that. Here with our membership, we want to try and help our members do that. So when we're looking at the arbitrage and the membership and all, we will share a lot of detailed information, a lot of tips and tricks. You have a lot of coaches that help you with that. And we talked about it, what the arbitrage is. When I look at the private label side, it's completely different. You're designing and helping to put together a product that you're going to put your name brand on. So let's say if I want to, build a name and I want to call it Regina Stuff, that's my brand name, then I can buy something from whichever country I want to choose from. You have to learn how to negotiate with people in different countries. But you get to build and decide how you want that product to be, how you want it to look, how you want it packaged, and so forth. And so building that up can take longer. It can take months to build a product. Some people even take 6-8 months because they want it done just specifically the way they specify with the manufacturers over the different countries. Also, with private label, it can also take a lot more money because you're not buying just 5, 10, maybe 20 items. You're going to be buying 500 or 1,000 or 2,000 items. So it's completely different, but it's equally as successful as arbitrage can be. When you do the private label, if you're buying 2,000, that 2,000 is going to go into Amazon. So you think it may take longer to sell, but if it's a really great product, that 2,000 could go in a couple of months. And the same thing with arbitrage is if you find that product that's really, really good as well, you could also go back and resource it and be able to purchase that item over and over again. And so what I have found also is when you're out arbitraging, that sometimes you'll see an item that sparks a thought. Well, I wonder if this item, if I did this and this to it, could I turn it into a private label product? And there are people that actually do that. So don't think that once you're stuck in arbitrage that you can't go to private label. You absolutely can. There are two different methodologies, but they definitely go hand in hand. And being an arbitrage, out in the retail arbitrage, can actually help you, give you some ideas maybe for your private label product.
That's great, Regina. I really love to hear about how private label and arbitrage can dovetail together. And I think the sky's the limit when you're creative and you're working to create opportunities and to find opportunities. I mean, really, that's what private label and arbitrage are both about. It's discovering where's the opportunity, where's the potential, and then leveraging what you can do through the Amazon marketplace to cause that to benefit you, to receive a payout for you. And the two really can dovetail together in a lot of neat ways. And that's why Just One Dime is excited about having a private label membership and an arbitrage membership. We're seeing how that's really working well for a lot of our members. And so we have members who have been doing private label and they're joining the arbitrage membership. And we have folks who have been doing arbitrage and they're using it as a stepping stone to then move into the private label world. And they're recognizing that Just One Dime is really working hard. And this is our sincere heart. We're working hard to see you be successful, and they're being able to leverage both memberships in a way that supports that. So that would be our encouragement to you. Could be that you've seen success in one and you want to leverage the other. It could be you've struggled in one and maybe taking advantage of the other will really help energize that. Any follow-ups to that, Regina?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, as you're talking, it made me think about the memberships that we have at Just One Dime. While we have the arbitrage with the private label memberships, and as you're trying to build your business, we teach you how to build it successfully because they each have specific tactics that you're going to use to build each business, because they are going to be different in how you're going to look and view and plan, and how it is you're going to look at your suppliers versus how you're going to look at just your items that you're going to purchase in the retail stores or online. So we make those very distinct memberships so you can join and you can actually see and ask and feel and see how people build it. And the private label side, that's just in a whole different way, even though you can mesh them together and they sort of join as a one business, but at the same time too, you can keep them separate and you learn how to do that separately.
Yeah, that's really good. That's really good. I want to keep saying hi to folks, J1 too, but I see you on here. Where's Alan? You're asking. I'm trying to give Alan a break from time to time, and I actually think it benefits you. It benefits our viewers when we can get some variety. And so we've got some excellent coaches with our membership, and I want to both give them the opportunity to say hello to you and for you to get to know them. And I think they bring a different perspective. There's just so many ways you can approach arbitrage and selling on Amazon that it's fun to be able to interview different coaches. And so Alan will be back. Don't worry. He and I are working together to make this program the best we can, but it's fun to bring in coaches. We might even bring in other special guests. We'll see. Alicia, I see you. Farah, Alvaro, Bob Abbey, that's my dad. I want to give a shout out to him. He's my arbitrage partner. Don, I see you. Dodo Bear, Chuck E. Cheese is with us. It's just great to see you guys active. I want to get to your questions. So Regina, let's start with this one. Loving It says, if we send products to the prep center in the U.S. from another country, what happens with the returns and products that we don't sell? That can be challenging for an international seller. By the way, we have just seen tons of international sellers see success doing arbitrage. They've joined our membership. They set up accounts in the U.S. and they purchase products and take advantage of a prep center, and it really works out wonderful for them. I think we might get into that with some of the following questions. But first, it can be difficult for an international seller who's doing that to know what to do with his or her returns. And Regina, what would you recommend that person do?
Yeah, with the international folks that are actually doing arbitrage, they're mostly going to be doing a lot of online arbitrage, and they're going to be selling their products here in the U.S. The best thing they can do is they're going to get a really good prep center, And attached below on the links there, we got 72 prep centers that'll give you an idea as to where to start. But your prep centers are going to help to prep your product and prepare it to make sure when it gets shipped into Amazon to be put in your inventory that it's labeled correctly or bagged correctly. They each have different types of services that you should know about what they're going to do. Unfortunately, sometimes some products don't sell well, or something may be damaged, and it has to be returned out of the Amazon warehouse and back to you. Amazon doesn't ship to a foreign country. They'll only ship to what's here in the US. So there are some companies out there and or prep centers, it could be a combination of both or two separate ones, that will actually offer you that service. And they can do it one of two ways. They can either take your product back and then ship it to you where you live, or they can actually look at the items, analyze it, and then see maybe what it's worth, and then they can possibly buy it from you, probably at a much lower rate, but at least be able to do that. And then they in turn will do something with it themselves as well, probably resell it on a different market. But so that's an option for you to be able to do that. So that way you don't feel that you're like stuck. What am I going to do with my products if something doesn't work or something's damaged and so forth? And it's very, very handy for all of our international sellers.
Good. I think that's a really helpful answer. You know, when you're looking for a prep center, you're really kind of entering into a relationship. You're going to start dating this prep center, and you want to know what you're getting into. And so our encouragement to you, our recommendation is that you talk to multiple prep centers and you kind of find out what works for you, what fits with you, what you think you're going to be able to really take advantage of. In fact, there should be a link below that you can click that will enable you to get a list that we've compiled of 72 prep centers that are available in the U.S. And what I would suggest is you interact with multiple prep centers and you find out from certain prep centers, how would you manage this situation? If I have products returned to you, what can you do for me? How can you work with me? And personally, I want to find a prep center that's personal, that can get to know me. They're not so overwhelmed with work or have scaled to such a size that they can't, accept my questions or kind of personalize their service for me. And so the prep center I use is great. I'm on a first name basis with the people that work in the warehouse. If there's some kind of wrinkle, I can call them and talk to them, and they kind of know my preferences. They know how I like to work, and they've interacted with me wonderfully on that. And so now if you're trying to manage a return or something like that can be a potential problem, you can trust your prep center to advocate for you and to really work in your best interest. Mo is asking, how do we send the product online to, I think, prep center in the US? And anyone can do this. I pay for the product using my billing address, and I purchase it using a credit card online, but the shipping address is my prep center, and I have a relationship with my prep center. And so they are processing everything that comes in with my name on it, and they're designating it for me, and then I interact with the prep center in order to get that shipment to an Amazon fulfillment center. So international sellers are able to do this. You can use a service called Payoneer. You can set up a US-based bank account. You can get a US-based Visa card and a business card, and everything that you need to function with a US-based account that's then linked to your international account. And now you can sell and have items shipped right to your prep center. Let's talk a little bit about Prime Day. That's coming. And Shirley's asking, Regina, how much discount are you guys giving out on Prime Day? Are you doing a discount? How are you approaching Prime Day? And again, we're talking arbitrage. So I think it's possible that you would have a different mindset if you are thinking about your private label products versus arbitrage. So Regina, what are you doing? What are you thinking about as you anticipate Prime Day coming?
Yeah, Prime Day. That's what you call the busiest holiday of the year, and everybody wants to copy Amazon as to what they're doing. They got the biggest success. So yeah, if you got your products in already, awesome. Hopefully you get some great sales going on. I'm not giving any kind of discounts. Rather, what I prefer to do is I prefer to run my PPC ads for my arbitrage items. You can go into your settings and you can look to where you can advertise your products and figure out how much you're wanting to spend as far as your advertising. So it comes out as a sponsored product. And from that, you can determine how much money would I want to spend So whether your product is going to be at the top of the page or might be in the middle. So that is, I think, a really good strategy to get your arbitrage products noticed before you think about any kind of discounts.
Yeah, that's good. And we do recommend that you run a PPC campaign for your arbitrage. I do it. We coach how to do it in our membership, and we really encourage our members to run a PPC campaign. It looks radically different than your PPC campaign would look for your private label product. We're not really trying to generate any energy for a particular listing. We're not trying to get a listing to rank. We're taking advantages of listings that already rank, but PPC can still really serve your efforts. So that's our recommendation. And we get into all the details about how you can set that up to maximize your selling potential when you're doing arbitrage. Alvaro, it's fun to read your comment. Proud to say that he reached his $4,000 mark, and he's giving Just One Dime a bit of the credit for that. So, it's a huge thrill to see our members taste success and to see that margin begin to expand. And I like what Alvaro's doing, because he's holding forth a goal, and then when he achieves it, he celebrates, and he celebrates with us, and we can all celebrate together, which is way more fun to be able to celebrate with the community. In fact, I have a buddy who has one time in his life he got a hole-in-one playing golf, and he was golfing by himself, and he said it was the most anticlimactic experience in the world, because he hit on a par 3 and he could see clearly that he nailed the shot and got a hole-in-one, and he just had nobody to give a high five to. He was all by himself, and it really stunted his ability to enjoy the moment. And then, of course, nobody believed him when he tried to explain what happened. So I think it's cool that Alvaro comes on here and is able to say, look, this is the goal that I reached, and I want to celebrate with you guys. And we give some virtual high fives and just say, man, way to go achieving that goal. And now he's pushing forward. What's next? What can I do next? And so that's part of what I love about the Just One Dime community, is you're in this with other people. J1Tube asks this, Regina, let me ask you, do you use virtual assistants? Have you ever used a VA?
Actually, I did use a VA. And what's interesting about VAs is you got to find the right ones that are going to fit what you're looking for. You can go on different sites, and you can set up what your application is, for the process. You're going to get a lot of people that are going to apply, and you're going to have to go through them, and you're going to have to ask them questions and see which one's going to fit for you. If you're looking specifically for just one particular category, hopefully you can find someone that is that has a lot of knowledge in that particular category or on all the categories. Sorry about that.
Once you do that, Regina, how do you kind of monitor the VA? What kind of KPIs would you use to see that they're doing a good job? Or how would you know, maybe on a less formal basis, that they're really serving your business well? And would you recommend setting up some sort of pay structure that's based on whether or not they're being successful?
Yeah, you might have to hire, let's say 2, 3, 4, 5, depending upon what you can afford at the very beginning. And I would say for the first week, say, okay, I'm going to hire you for 1 week, and tell them what you're looking for, what type of items, what rankings, BSR that you're looking for. Give them a guide to follow, and what amount of money you're sort of wanting those amounts to be in between. So tell them what the expectations are, and then just let them try and find it. And at the end of a week, go and evaluate what they found for you. If you find that, and this happened to me, I had a VA who focused on a certain type of store, which limited what she could find, and she had trouble finding items. She found some, but I'm looking for someone who can find more. So then I saw another VA who was actually able to expand to markets and stores that I have never used before. And he also had his own different tools that he used that maybe that the other person did not have, that actually helped him to do more research. So yeah, I would say interview each of them, try them for a week, and see if they can actually help you in the area that you're needing and at the details you want. And then what you can find, if you find that person or that couple people, however many it is you're looking for, depending on the revenue you have now and how fast you want to grow, then you can set them up on whether it be like a structured salary or a percent maybe of your particular sales that could be related directly to his or hers, whoever's working for you. or you can say, hey, I'm going to give you a bonus, of let's say $50 a week or a month, whatever it may be, just by continuing to do this. And some coaches have relationship with many virtual assistants in different countries that have made them very, very successful. But I've also heard them say, but I've also had to go through several couple, 10, 20 people before I found the right match for what I was looking for. So it's almost like when you're looking for your job and you interview people, it's the same type of theory. You're just dealing with a different type of system and people from other countries as well.
That's right. You're kind of dating your virtual assistant as well. You're in relationships with all these different people that you're interacting with, and the beauty of a virtual assistant is they can be from an infinite number of locations. You can hire virtual assistants from all kinds of international locations, and they can work at certain times, and they can service your business online, and it adds to your flexibility. They're flexible. They can work in a lot of different ways. But Regina's right. You're entering into a relationship with these folks, and if you set up 2 or 3 VAs, you're going to find that some understand what your goals are and kind of how you're trying to coach them through serving your business, and maybe others don't. Maybe some have personalities that work well with yours, that just fit well with what you're trying to do on Amazon, and you're thinking that through, and you're working with those individuals, and you're not trying to be flippant. I'm going to hire you and then stop working with you, but I think there's a general atmosphere of understanding that that's how it works, and if they work for you for a little bit and don't continue with you, they'll find something else, and you're trying to find what's going to really work for you and serve you. And it's always about relationship. It's always about interacting with them. You don't want them to just kind of be robotic in what they're doing. You're going to be able to take the greatest advantage of that hire if you're able to relate to them and train them, and they get to know what you're really trying to do and make it successful. Let's keep looking here. Chuck E. Cheese asks, what's better, wholesale or retail arbitrage? Which one is the hardest? Which one makes you more money? I personally don't think that one is better than the other. Now, I primarily do arbitrage, and I've done pretty much no wholesale. I've done a little bit. I've happened on particular products kind of in the wholesale world, and I've seen that there's really nice margin, and there's as I research the product, I see that it's a high quality product that I could make work for me. And now I'm trying to evaluate how much storage space do I have? Can I fit, if I buy 500 of these, can I fit them in the corner of the garage? Or I'm talking to the supplier and trying to figure out what kind of relationship I can develop with the supplier. And I've seen it be successful. I just I've chose not to do that as much. So I don't really think one is better than the other. It's kind of the same with, when you talk about private label. I don't think you can necessarily say private label is better than arbitrage or vice versa. I think they work differently. I think they work better for different people. I feel like I'm more wired to be successful at arbitrage than I am at private label, and it fits better into what I'm trying to do with my family and my convictions. Other people feel like it's the exact opposite, and private label really serves their purposes a lot better. So I don't know that I really see a preference between wholesale or retail arbitrage kind of in the objective view. You want to figure out what works for you. And I think both wholesale and arbitrage can feel like they're difficult, and you can really make good money from both. It just depends on how they serve you and how you can leverage them. Regina, what would you answer to that question?
Well, it's interesting how all three of those actually relate together, and how you can build a different type of business as well. So you got your private label we talked about, arbitrage we've spoken about, which, like I said, I think is fun. You can build from that. And then you get the wholesale side, which is almost a completely different market. And I've done some wholesale, and I've also contacted some large companies to try and get some of their products to try to sell on Amazon. And it's work. It's going to be hard work, but it's a different type of work. It's going to be one of those that while you're thinking about arbitrage and find those items, and some will sell great and some won't, it's going to be the same with the wholesale. But trying to find whichever companies may be, and sometimes don't think of the big companies. Think of some smaller companies that perhaps are making a branded item, that maybe is one item that's really big as well. And then maybe this company has other items you can sell. The thing with wholesale is you're selling you're buying larger amounts from them, and then you're going to sell hopefully those same numbers. So you could be doing 200 products or 50 products, whatever it may be, depends upon the item. Usually the amount of money you're going to make is going to be less than if you're doing just regular arbitrage. And the reason being is because it's usually tax-free because you're buying from a wholesaler. So there's other avenues you can think of because you're also buying in larger bulk. And so while you would make a certain amount of money on your arbitrage items, you may not make quite that much on a wholesale item. You could, it depends on what you're going to get it at. First, it's going to be maybe a little challenging, but don't let that discourage you, because there are plenty of people who make lots of money on wholesale items, even if they are not making the revenue, the percentage of revenue that they're wanting to on a regular arbitrage. And that's one thing that, in the membership too, you'll learn what those parameters are that you're looking for the arbitrage. And then you can translate that into wholesale, but a little bit differently, but knowing that if you're going to make, instead of a certain percentage of 40%, it might be 20%, but now you're selling 200 items instead of just 5. So it's a different mindset, a different way to practice. But yes, we talk a little about wholesale too in the membership as well.
Yeah, I think what's important to point out in what you said is that the percentage is lower. And so you're dealing usually in the world of wholesale with just a smaller margin, a smaller ROI. But if you can find a product that sells rapidly, that has a strong BSR, and you have a really sweet relationship with a supplier, maybe a unique relationship with a supplier, and your competition is low, coupled with a strong BSR, I mean, you could find yourself selling a large number of items and having a steady supply of that item from the supplier. Now you've kind of broken through into what could be a really significant moneymaker for you. And now it's become, in that example, less work than what you're doing in arbitrage, because, in arbitrage, we're recommending go wide, don't go deep. And so I'm looking to have 1,000 different items, lots of variety, and maybe just 4 or 5 of each item. Now, if you land on a wholesale jackpot, maybe you have a really good relationship with a supplier, and now just one item or maybe 2 items, you are trying to leverage the fact that you have big sellers and you have a constant supply. Now you're going deep in that one area. And so you can begin to see how they do these different lanes of selling on Amazon can dovetail together nicely, because you put on your arbitrage hat and you're going wide, not deep, but then you're willing to switch it up and do some wholesale if you happen upon opportunities. And you're really on a treasure hunt to find out where are the opportunities that you can take advantage of. And they're all under this umbrella of selling on Amazon and building your business, so that in the long term, you're developing increasing amounts of margin so that you can do the things you love with the people you love. And now private label is a third lane. And so that's why I'm hesitant to say one's better than the other, because I think you can really take advantage of working all of them. And you might just find, you work the wholesale once or twice and it's successful, and you're like, I like this. I get how it works and it seems to work for me. And you lean harder into wholesale than into arbitrage. Now you're just making it your own. You're making your business your own, and you're finding what works for you and what serves for you. And now maybe you do 75% wholesale and 25% arbitrage, but you're still taking advantage of both. And I think it plays out in similar ways with private label. Some people try branding their own products and it just works, and they get it, and their business takes off because of it. And so now they really lean into private label. Others try it and find that it is just really hard for them, and they're struggling along. And meanwhile, their arbitrage is prospering, and they're glad that they have multiple options. So I think it's really neat to consider how all these things can work together. J. Lamar Hannah says, when Amazon is selling the same product, what strategies do you use? So a lot of times in arbitrage, we are considering, what does the competition look like on the listing that's been successful. So you might look at a product, say, this, I've determined after some analysis that this is a high quality product and I could make money with this product. But you're also thinking about, what does your competition look like? Are there 2 sellers? Are there 12 sellers? Are there 22 sellers? And you're asking, is Amazon one of the sellers? And so the question here is, what strategies do you use if Amazon is selling? Do you drop the price? Do you wait for Amazon to run out of the product? And I would say it's helpful to notice that Amazon is selling the product. Part of what you're wanting to do in analyzing a product is to look at what the competition looks like. And there are tools like Keep It that can be really helpful to know over the course of history, what has the competition looked like. And so your approach to buying a product will probably look different if there's 5 sellers versus 25 sellers. That just makes sense. And noticing that Amazon is in the mix is also significant. Most of the time you can compete for the buy box alongside Amazon. I sell on listings alongside Amazon all the time. And in many, many, many cases, I'm competing for the buy box. If I can offer a competitive price and my account health is in good shape, then I'm competing with Amazon. They allow third-party sellers all the time to compete for the buy box, and I sell product. I just have to recognize that Amazon is another competitor. There are some rare occasions, and I think they're rare, though you will encounter them, where Amazon sets up their algorithms or does something whereby they just always win the buy box. And those are the challenging situations. I get into those once in a while, and I recognize, in fact, there are times where I will lower the price. Say the going price is $49.95. I'll lower my price all the way to like $39.95, and Amazon still always wins the buy box, even though they're 20% higher than me. And now you are doing what you suggested, Jay Lamar, is you're waiting. Maybe the BSR is so strong that and maybe your Keep a History indicates that Amazon runs out of stock, and when they do, sometimes the price skyrockets, and that can be to your advantage. And other times now you are the one dominating the buy box and you can sell your product. And so now it's just a waiting game. So I think what you're suggesting does work. You can drop the price. There are times where maybe in my example, I go from $49.95 to $34.95. And I recognize that Amazon has capped, they've set a lower limit to how low they'll go. And so if I can source a product for, 10 or $15, then I can be willing to go down to $34.95. And when I do that, now I'm winning the buy box. And Amazon, you'll see Amazon's price stall out at maybe $37.95. And it's an indicator that in that situation, they've decided to put like a floor to how low their price will go. So you've got to kind of play with individual products, and Keep It can be really helpful to see what the history of a product looks like. And now would be a good time to enter into the fray if you're competing with Amazon, I think, because as the fourth quarter approaches, you're going to have more and more opportunities to compete. Let's see. Ricardo says, I just started using Be Cool. That's a repricing tool. And use the settings on the program as Alan advises, and I keep getting deactivated listings. How can I fix them? Regina, have you used Be Cool enough to be able to answer Ricardo's question?
Yeah, I use Be Cool. I actually really like it a lot. It does a great job repricing my items. Sometimes if I see something that's sold, I'm like, well, I don't recognize that amount or whatever it is, and I can't find the item because I don't recognize the amount or whatever. And it's because Be Cool is able to change the pricing on the items, which makes it beneficial for me and keeps me competitive according to the buy box. So I've used it quite a bit. And I find that there are times that when I've set the pricing a little bit too high or maybe like really too low as a range, that sometimes Amazon will say that that's completely out of the range of what they've had historically from other sellers. And when that happens, is they may sometimes deactivate the item and put on like a price alert to you for you to go check the pricing to make sure that it's not a mistake. So I've had that happen quite a bit. If you've ever gotten to where you've done the repricer for Amazon, and I've done that and I find it wasn't very good, so I stopped doing it. But somehow, sometimes those things still trickle in and it somehow catches it and does a price alert to you. And that's what I have found. It's easy to fix. You can go in there and reset what your minimum maximum is on your repricer, and that then should help you to activate the item again.
Good and helpful answer, Regina. Moving right along, Ezekiel asks, should I open a new seller account? I've been selling a couple of years doing arbitrage. Now I'd like to start having a private label. My answer is no. One, Amazon doesn't like you having multiple accounts. So don't open multiple accounts. It won't go well with you. There are rare exceptions where you can get Amazon's permission to open another account, but they're pretty rare and they require just unique circumstances for you to be able to argue for that. And secondly, if you've established an account selling for a couple years doing arbitrage, that's an advantage to you. That's only going to help your private label efforts. So my recommendation would be to go ahead and start having a private label and working to private label your items, and just go ahead and use the same account. I can't really think of any significant reason why that would be a hindrance to you. That would be my recommendation. Regina, do you agree?
It's actually interesting when you talk about some of the different accounts, and it becomes to a personal choice. And as Eric just said, Amazon does not want you to have more than one account, multiple accounts. You can ask their permission. Sometimes they will give it to you, but they're going to want to have a good reason for it. And one reason is, and I can't speak for them, only just what I've had other people tell me, is that when you're doing private label, and if you develop a brand that is actually been trademarked, and or if it has to be patented or copyrighted, depends upon what you do, that if you can actually speak to and prove to Amazon that your brand name has been trademarked, then they may say, okay, we're going to let you have a separate account to where you can have that brand name listed as your account, even though you can have a different name on your account, but then that account may be just for that brand name. Some people will still put several brand names under just one account too, and keep all their private label business separate from their arbitrage business. So it's a different way of thinking. It's a different methodology, how you want to look at it. Some, it depends on who you talk to, and some actually just want to keep the businesses separate, which is one of the driving forces for keeping the account separate. But if you do, you still have to get Amazon's permission to do that. And then once you do, then you'll be good to go. So, you can always think it through, and that would be a good question that you could ask some of the members in the Just One Dime group on the private label side, or an arbitrage as well, because it could lead to private label, and get their opinions. You won't not only we get the opinions of the coaches that are there, but you'll also get the opinion of the several thousand members that we have, and the ones who have done it, the ones who have more than one account. What did they find was good, bad, and what would they change if they could, and so on and so forth. And that's what's great about having all these members, because you're going to get so many different opinions on how they handle it, and then you can take the parts of it and put it together for you.
That's a nice nuanced answer to the question, because I didn't mean to intimate that it's impossible to get Amazon's permission, or there's never a good circumstance to have multiple accounts. I think in general, your instinct should be to stick with one account. But Regina's right. There are situations where that can work for you, and it's maybe worth pursuing. But I think on the whole, if you've built a nice foundation with arbitrage, and you have an account that's got a couple years experience, now you can use that to your advantage to build and sell private label. Mo asks for OA for online arbitrage. How do we scan those products and list it in Amazon? Here's all I do. You can't scan an item when you're using your smartphone with the Amazon Seller Central app to scan products. Now you're doing retail arbitrage. You're in the store scanning barcodes, analyzing product on your cell phone. When I'm doing online arbitrage, I've got multiple tabs open, and I'm at a retail website, and I'm doing a lot of copy and paste between the retail website and Amazon itself. And I'm looking to see, one, is the product available on Amazon? And if it appears to be, now I'm doing a really close comparison to making sure that what I'm looking at the retail website is an exact match with what's for sale on Amazon. And then I'm doing my product research, and I'm analyzing the product. And if I decide it's a product that I want to purchase, now I'm going to list the product in Amazon Seller Central. And if there's a listing in Amazon, that listing has an ASIN. Amazon assigns all their items in their catalog an ASIN, and you use that number. You can either manually go into your Seller Central account, and when you go to add a product, you put in that ASIN, it'll bring up the product, and now you can list it. Or what I like to do, because I use RevSeller, which is a tool that's embedded right in your Amazon listing, it's a Chrome extension. And so when I go to the Amazon listing to look at that item, RevSeller gives me all the data that I'm really focusing on right in a square at the top of the screen. And one of the things that you can do with that square is you can click it says sell yours, and you can click on it, and it takes you right to your seller account, and it sets up that item so that you can list it. And so when I'm doing online arbitrage, I'm going back and forth. I'm filling my cart with items that I want to purchase. And then when I'm listing them right from Amazon.com using RevSeller, and it just opens up those listings in my Seller Central account, and I can create the listings by putting in my personal SKU, and I'm off to the races. Anthony asks, I thought you couldn't go from one online retailer straight to FBA. Not sure exactly what you're asking, Anthony, but I think maybe we answered the question in our discussion about prep centers because you're purchasing the item from a retailer, but the prep center is receiving that shipment and then preparing your product to go to Amazon FBA. Or you can have it shipped to yourself. You know, I live in Vermont, and so I'm right here in the US, and I have all the product shipped to me. Sometimes I use a prep center, sometimes I don't. And if I have the product shipped to me, now I'm just using the workshop I have set up in my garage. I'm prepping my own product, and then I'm shipping them to Amazon FBA. So maybe the answer to your question is you're right. You don't go directly from an online retailer straight to FBA, but you can take advantage of a prep center so that you don't have to be the one being the middleman and doing all that labor. A lot of people, you know, if they live in a one-bedroom apartment or they just find it tedious to do that work, they want to pay a prep center to do it for them. Joshua Kirkland asks this. Regina, I'll let you respond to this. When starting out, how do you get ungated? I can request to be ungated, but Amazon wants an invoice. How do I do that when doing retail arbitrage from Walmart, Target, etc.? So what Josh was talking about is that there are times when you will go to list a product and you'll discover that you're prevented from selling that product. You can't even create a listing through your Amazon seller account. It'll say that you're restricted. Regina, what do you do when you encounter those restrictions?
Yeah, when you're restricted like that, there are certain things that you're doing in your business that could actually help you to become ungated. And one of the main items that I think can affect that and actually help you is the health of your account. Meaning you have a good amount of inventory that's in Amazon all the time. You don't have any kind of bad reviews from purchasers. You don't have a lot of bad inventory sitting there. Not a lot of returns. So some of those account health metrics, and you can read more about that in the in Amazon in their library and all. And that should actually help you. And that's a big driving force as far as that goes. When I list items, I will always, if it tells me I'm gated when I try to list it, I will always try to get it ungated and follow the steps on how to do that. I would say probably 3 out of 10 times I'm going to get ungated in a product. There are still some large brand names that I'm still gated for. And while some people would be disappointed they can't sell the Nikes or the Under Armour or things like that, I would rather focus on the fact that I can't sell those, but that's okay because now I have a lot of competitors that I'm going to be selling against. And I would rather now change my focus onto items that I can sell that maybe have less competitors, but still sell just as frequently. So the competition is less, but I know I can get more sales from it. So while we don't want we always want to know about the brand names. We always hear about that. We see a lot of stories. That's okay. Don't worry about that. Focus on what you have and what you can actually sell. But you can also just try and get ungated each time. And Amazon recently has just changed their seller app that's actually really convenient to actually apply to be ungated right there in seller app. When you are just clicking on it to see what the selling price is, it will automatically come up down and say, okay, you've now applied to become ungated. I've done that in different products, and I've not all of a sudden had something pop up that says, oh, now granted you're ungated. I've not had that happen to me, but I think what happens is you've applied. Amazon will look at some of the account metrics I was talking about, and then maybe behind the scenes you may get ungated when you least expect it, and you may not even know it.
Good. Lots of helpful information in there. Thank you, Regina. We've got 5 minutes left. I'm going to start rapid fire. Ali Beck, hello. I'm curious to know where you're from. I have several friends that are named Ali Beck, and they're from Kazakhstan. I lived there for some time. So I'm curious just where you're coming to us from. Home Remedies, hello. Alvaro, hey, I say 5,000 is a great goal. maybe one of these weeks you'll be able to report that you've hit that goal, and we'll keep seeing you grow your business. Michael Snyder asks, should I use PPC when there are multiple sellers for a listing? It seems as if I will be benefiting my competitors as well. Michael, here's the cool thing about pay-per-click. If somebody finds your advertisement and clicks on it, it's going to take them to the listing, and you will have the buy box. There will never be an instance where they use your pay-per-click advertisement and a different competitor gets the buy box and then gets the sale. So you're not benefiting your competitors. What you're doing is you're actually getting the listing to customers, and when they click on it to view it and hopefully purchase, you're making the sale. And so that's what makes pay-per-click advantageous for you. It's just really getting those listings before customers more often, and it benefits you every time. Let's see. Maui TV, welcome to the program. Arbitrage is a step before wholesale. And so he's kind of saying arbitrage, then wholesale, then private label. I think you can kind of view it like that. I like to see them as lanes, and you're diversifying your portfolio. But I think in a lot of cases, arbitrage can be a great introductory way to learn how to sell on Amazon, to establish your business, establish your Amazon account, and then you can maybe move more into wholesale opportunities and find and build relationships with suppliers that enable you to do that, and eventually launch your own brand and your own product. So I think there's good sense in approaching it that way. You can see it as a three-tiered staircase to reach your goal and to reach increasingly higher goals. Ryan asked, which prep centers do you use? And I also see that he says the link doesn't work. So I will assure you, Ryan, that after we get off the broadcast, I'll put a link that works into the comments so that you can be sure to get that list of 72 prep centers, and you can begin to pursue those. In one of the previous broadcasts, it didn't work either. So I'm going to work between now and next week to make sure that that link is up and running. We want you to be able to take advantage of that. T. Clapson asks, why do some products not have a buy box? Is there a way to get a buy box to appear for that item? I think the main reason why an item won't have a buy box is that Amazon has determined, or their algorithm has determined, that the price is inflated. And so sometimes that's the case. And in fact, if you are researching a product and it seems to be a really good product, maybe seems to be too good to be true, that might be an indicator that the price indeed is inflated, and it just requires more research. And so I like to use Keepa, and get a history of, if Keepa shows me that for the past 6 months the item was selling at $29.95, and now suddenly in the last 4 days it's selling at $79.95, it's an inflated price. And unless there's a really unique situation, it's a temptation to buy the product. It's probably not going to pan out because the price is going to come back down. But there are plenty of times where Amazon has determined that it's an inflated price, but in reality, the product has just maybe grown in popularity and the price has increased. And you can even see from the history that as the price has increased, maybe the BSR has remained low, and you can see, this product is just growing in popularity, or the demand is increasing for some reason, and you can still sell. So when there's no buy box, customers can still purchase the item. And I don't know that there's really a way to get the buy box to reappear. I think if enough sales happen at that higher price, Amazon or the algorithm that's been established might adjust, and they'll return the buy box at that higher price. Michael said he had to step out for a second. Did we talk about PPC? Well, let me remind you, you can rewatch the broadcast. It'll be pinned to Seth's channel, and you can watch it. We talked a little bit about PPC. We simply said that we recommend, in the world of arbitrage, that you do PPC. And in the membership, we go into all the details of how to set that up. Let's see. World first or Payoneer service better? Mo asks. I don't know how to answer that. What I've always heard is that Payoneer is the way to go. Regina, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, I've always heard. I've not dealt with either one, but Payoneer is the most common one that a lot of sellers use, when they're dealing with the non-US country and all, and trying to sell in the US. Payoneer is number one. World First is also common, but check with World First. I've heard there's been some challenges depending upon where you live, so it's just something you can check out further.
All right. Well, we blitzed through all the questions and got to the end right at 1 o'clock Central. So that worked out nicely. Once again, I'm thrilled to spend another Saturday with you guys. Our desire is that it would be helpful. I truly and sincerely would love for you to be finding increased success at your Amazon business, increased margin, so that you're really moving towards your goals, achieving your goals, being able to set better and bigger goals. I'd like to see what Alvaro is able to say on a weekly basis to be multiplied. I'd love to see more and more people giving us feedback. This is helpful. And again, we're encouraging you to take a look at our Amazon Arbitrage Mastery membership. We're convinced that it's a really great opportunity for you to be a part of a community that's making margin happen. And so click the link below, take a look at it, be thinking more and more about what you need to invest to take your business to the next level. You know, $997 for our membership, that cost up front could be the exact investment you need to make in order to take your business to the next level. And if in July and August you make over $1,000 as a result of choosing that membership, then it's a really good investment for you. And now you're poised for the fourth quarter. You're poised to hit that fourth quarter with as much strength and power as you can. And you know, and you probably have the instinct that when October rolls around, November comes, I mean, it's just fun to be a seller on Amazon because you just watch the app and you're just selling stuff and you're selling it at a high price. And so I think now's the time to jump in, to really get involved, to maximize your opportunities. And you're going to see payout. You're going to see a return on that investment. I'm convinced of that. So, Regina, I want to give you a chance to say goodbye to our viewers, and then I'm going to sign off. Thanks for joining us today, Regina.
Hey, Eric. Thanks. I appreciate it. Yeah, and everything that Eric has said is right on target. He's an expert at this. We're both coaches for the Arbitrage group, and we actually love it. We work together a lot too. So it's a good. I hope you can check out the membership and come join us and share our experiences and with you and your friends, and tell them about joining. And hopefully we'll see you there. I love doing this. I appreciate it, Eric.
Yeah, you're welcome. And you know, I got to where I'm at because of Just One Dime. So I sold on Amazon for some time before Just One Dime was around, but when I joined, it really was a significant help. So I'm just speaking from the heart, you know, sharing what was helpful for me with you, and excited to be a part of it. So hey, come back next Saturday at noon Central. We're going to do this again. I wish you guys the best, many blessings on your business. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you next time.